Statue collecting is dying. And before you accuse me of clickbaiting you on this video, I want to explain why. I want to give you the reasons why I believe this hobby is on the last legs in some sort of way. You know, not saying that the end is tomorrow, but I'm telling you, we are at the lowest point I've seen this hobby on the past 20 plus years that I've been collecting. Of course, a lot of it is opinion based. I'm not using graphs or anything like that, but I'm sharing my experience and I'm sharing the things that I see every day that are causing harm to this hobby. Number one, price increase. Undoubtedly, stuff out there right now is expensive. Collecting is expensive. Anything that you can collect is expensive, but particularly statue collecting is the most expensive it's ever been. When I started 20 plus years ago, I'm telling you, when you were collecting statues, you were not spending more than sometimes $100, $200, $300 was premium stuff. When the premium format stuff came out, it was what, $250, $275, $300. That was it. Like you are like a bowler spending a lot of money on that. That has changed. It's no longer like that. Now we're talking about the quarter scale stuff is over $1,000. The 1/3 scale that has become a very popular scale. Now it's over $2,000, $3,000 depending on what you're buying. It's more expensive. The 1/6 scale stuff is within what, like $500, no less than that. When you're talking about the resin stuff, it could be over $1,000. I seen 1/10 scale stuff at over $1,000, $1,500. The dioramas, all. It's so expensive. It's way expensive. And yes, all of that has to do with the cost of manufacturing. Companies are spending more money paying these expensive licenses first and foremost, and the overhead, the shipping costs, the manufacturing costs in China, the tariffs, all the things you can think of are affecting the price. And of course, some people will use that as a conspiracy too, saying that there's conspiracy. These companies are pricing you more than the way they're actually putting into it. They're overpricing things. In some extent, yes, I would say some companies have done it, but companies are not just simply overpricing just for the heck of it. They only do it when the market is healthy and there's enough people buying. But the demand is not as big as it once was. No matter how many views you can get on YouTube, a video like we see Prime One Studio recent showcase and the views are there, that doesn't mean that all people who are watching are buying. A lot of people are watching because there's nothing else to do, and they're watching, and YouTube promotes the video and a lot of people are watching stuff. They're not statue collectors, but that doesn't mean that they're actual consumers. So yes, the numbers are limited. The cost is more expensive, it's more restrictive for collectors that have been here the longest, but also for the collectors that are newcomers that come into this. When they see the prices, they turn back. They're not coming back. They're not coming back when they see the cost. They're thinking that it's going to be way less. There's so many other hobbies out there that are less expensive. And from a personal standpoint, once you get, from my own personal opinion, not only is the fact of what you pay for new collectibles, it's maintaining the ones you have. That is also a cost thing. You have to pay, you have to have a room to display all this stuff. If you don't have the room to display, then you have to have storage, which is always expensive. A lot of collectors, myself included, we have storage that we pay. And we have boxes and things, and you have storage here, but you don't want to have all in one place and your spouse being angry with you. You have to have a storage, but also maintaining it, doing things to your room is way more expensive than before. And definitely that is one factor that is killing this hobby. Number two, oversaturation. The market is oversaturated right now. And of course, saturation doesn't happen overnight. It's been the accumulation of things over time. Over the past 20 plus years or so of statue collecting, Sideshow celebrating its 30th anniversary. Sideshow didn't start producing statues. They started producing toys. They started designing for toy companies. And then, of course, they move on. I would say around 20 years ago, that's when they actually started doing statues. Over time, all these companies have flooded the market with products. There's so much product out there, and every day there's new companies producing stuff at a high cost. It makes it harder and harder, first of all, to decide what you're going to buy, and that also kills some of the momentum, because you can have the most beautiful piece, all of a sudden it's going to be surpassed by the next company a month after that one, and not only you gotta deal with those situations. One thing that sustained the hobby initially was the fact that you were able to sell and trade your products for newer stuff all the time for newcomers. But now, because there's so much product out there, collectors are unable to move the stuff they already have to sell unless they do it at a loss, so they're able to afford the next product. When I was able to trade stuff, you know, I used to buy stuff and then after a couple of years sell it. I made some little profit. That profit sponsored the next collectible. Now it's not going to, because you're selling stuff at a loss, 50%, 75% loss of the initial cost sometimes. Now you still got a gap. You got to fill that gap between the next product. It's unthinkable. It's stupid if you want to maintain in this hobby as a collector, as a person who's constantly trading things, to go to the next thing, because you're losing money all the time. So it has become a difficult place to navigate. Go to eBay, go to Marketplace, see all the statues, particularly for companies, older products, they are sitting there forever. Unless you cut the price substantially, you're not going to see them move. So it's something that is becoming harder and harder to do, and the more also, and the companies keep producing. Spider-Man gets reproduced by everybody. There's so many different variations of Spider-Man right now, so much to choose from. You can even go to the custom market. There's plenty out there. So it's making it harder and harder for people to really keep up with the numbers, keep up with the hobby as a whole. And that is definitely another factor that is killing the hobby. Number 3, company closures. Companies are closing left and right more than ever before. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen in the past. I'm not telling you that we didn't have companies that they came and went and they didn't last long. There's always been the case. But lately we have lost some big companies, big game in town, companies that were not small. They were also distributors. Like, well, we have the issue with Diamond Select Toys. They're gone. Gentle Giant is gone. You know, all these companies leaving. DC Direct gone. All these companies leaving. That also has been affected on the toy market. Also, companies are leaving there and they're moving into other things. There's always the completionists, people who have been collecting things for a long time. Now they're unable to finish their collections. That is disappointing, and that turns people off. Some companies were very niche, like we can think about Gentle Giant. They were producing a lot of this mini bus, the stuff that we're producing for many years for Star Wars. That stuff is gone. No one is taking their place. No one has done it. When Bowen Designs left, no one really filled the vacuum. No one did. Kotobukiya perhaps was able. We were thinking that Kotobukiya would cover that. They didn't do it. They went in a different route. So it's still been open since Bowen Designs left. It's been what, 10 years or so since they walked away? That really creates a vacuum that is filled by other things, and people lose the desire to continue on collecting the same thing they have collected faithfully over the years. So there's a lack of diverse and affordable options too. As we mentioned, everything is so expensive. The companies that have the partner companies that were producing things that were more on the affordable side that everyone could afford. And it's important to have affordability in this hobby too. It's so important to have brand loyalty. So where you don't feel that brand loyalty, when that's companies that you love so much and you're collecting it so much, when they're gone, they close their doors, also something dies with you, the desire to continue on. So yeah, that is another big factor that is killing this hobby. Number 4, and it's connected to the previous one too in a way, and that is the artist mass exodus. The artists who were a big part of the creation of this hobby, many of them who have been here since before, you know, there was a market per se. They were on the garage kits movement, producing kits and all, that people were painting on their own. Many of those artists who are legendary, have been involved in this industry forever, they're moving on. They have gone to other things. Some of them have gone into the gaming industry. Some legendary artists who produce some of the most amazing pieces for companies like Sideshow, Bowen Designs, PCS, all of them have moved into other areas. With their graphic design, they have moved on. And that has left this big vacuum, this big space that has been occupied by AI technologies, by digital art that is outsourced from someplace out there in Asia or in other parts of the world, that doesn't have the same level of quality and understanding of anatomy, of things that artists who actually are trained for it that went to school for it are capable to do. Most companies don't tell you who the actual artist is. They have armies of artists, and all of the stuff, a lot of the stuff is AI design at this point. And that's created, of course, in a space where there's a lot of financial instability for a lot of these artists who are, many of them going from job to job to job. We have interviewed in the podcast many artists who they're freelancers and they have families, so they just quit. They cannot continue at this space. As we were talking about brand loyalty, it's important. Also, friendship loyalty is important. Once your friends, the artists that you know, that you admire, they moved on, they're no longer doing this, you also move on. You know, you don't care anymore. I don't care about AR to that point. You know, I care about the artist. Many of the stuff that I care about in this hobby are for artists that I collected because I love their art, because you know, I developed friendships with them. People like Eric Sosa, I love his art. But if he's not doing it anymore, I don't feel the need to continue to support companies. That is just an important thing. People get tired. When friends are gone, when there's less of a sense of community here, definitely people move on. And that is another big factor that is killing statue collecting. At number 5, which is very linked to the one we just talked about, and this is social media fatigue. People are tired of social media. Social media has become a motor that has been a big part of the promotional machine that has pushed statue collecting to the forefront. Before YouTube, people were it was word of mouth. People were going to comic book shops, and that's where they were getting their statues. That's how I got my first statue. That's how I got into this hobby. I used to go to a comic book shop. The guy had statues there, very small statues, Warner Brothers, DC stuff, and I used to collect them. Then YouTube came, and that's the way people were sharing stuff. Then, of course, we got Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok now. So all this are overhyping, pushing this stuff out. And overhype is good, but also can be bad, because the problem is that you are sold something beautiful, amazing. Then you realize when you see it, get it in person, is not the same. Only people who have been doing this the longest realize that prototype will never match the final product, or the final product will never match the prototype. So you have to learn to deal with that. But when something is overhyped, people are expecting perfection all the time. And of course, in a way, you're paying top dollar, but ultimately realize that a prototype and the final product are not the same. They will never be the same. FOMO, another thing. People are buying and getting into this big debts because they're buying everything, fear of missing out. But then, of course, they realize that it's not as good as they thought it was. In the end, when they get something or they get the solution, all of those things takes away that energy, and people start quitting the hobby, or they just blaming the hobby for things that actually social media is creating. Also, the drama that is constant in groups. That's one of the reasons I've been turned away from a lot of Facebook groups, because there's so much drama, so much hate, people throwing at each other shade, people trying to manipulate people trying to manipulate companies to give them free products. And there's plenty of them out there, plenty of YouTubers doing that nonsense. But that is the reality of this. And all of that creates people feeling less and less connected with this community. Plus, the people that you already know are gone, and these people who have come and these YouTubers are only doing this for clout. Then of course you lose the desire to continue in a hobby that it's not being fulfilling for you. Hobbies are about fulfillment, personal fulfillment. If you don't feel personally fulfilled, then you have to move on. Yeah, I would say on a personal level, for me, all of that, the original excitement that 20 years ago, when having friends, going to forums, talking to people, conversing with them, always looking for the next best reveal, things like that, going into the pre-order stage, all of those things when it was hard to pre-order things, that was part of the excitement. But that excitement is gone, and it's gone for me, and I know it's gone for so many people. The hobby has become a chore, has become a job in itself, and people, they come to the hobby so they can forget all the stress of life, and then realize that there is more stress in the hobby than it is actually in other things. That's why people are moving into other hobbies. Action figure collecting also has its challenges, as much as statue collecting, but it's way less expensive, and you don't have to occupy as much space, and they are producing stuff all the time, left and right. The fun of just going toy hunting, something that I've been doing lately, toy hunting is something that excites me a lot. It's something that really is better for me than just going on Facebook groups and arguing with people all day long about stupid stuff. Gaming, coming home, playing with other people online, those are exciting things. Watching movies, there's so many things, collecting steelbooks, things like that are more exciting than with statue collecting. Now, really coming to the conclusion, to the end of the video, these are Personal opinions, of course. These are facts also that are presented here, and many have shared over the years. I have shared over the years about it, and I think in the past I didn't see them as a bigger problem, but now I can see they're becoming more and more strenuous, more and more difficult to deal with. They're becoming harder to really overlook. We have to pay attention to the things that are happening. The hobby is not the same. Whether it changes its tune or not, I feel that the damage is already done. A lot of people have decided to move away. I have a lot of friends who already are selling their collections. Some of them not even selling directly. They just go to an auction house and they sell it. That's a good alternative, so you don't have to deal with the headaches. They're just getting rid of the stuff and moving on into other things that are more exciting. And definitely there's a lot of things to be excited about because we're all looking for community. And yes, there are gonna be always people here on YouTube always telling you this and that. Also the people who are steering the drama, there's always gonna be those. But they're not here for the long run. Some of them, they just got here not long ago. And they're utilizing this as part of how to build their cloud, how to build their platforms. But honestly, as a person who has collected statues for a long time, I'm not as excited as before. I still love statues. I still love to look at the art, but I'm not as invested as I was. My opinion in the end is that this hobby, in order to change, the solutions are there, but it's gonna be hard to get to those solutions. Control pricing, which is gonna be really hard. Bring some of those artists back. And don't go crazy with so many add-ons and attachments that don't add any value to the statue, only makes things more complicated. Just go for the affordability. Unless there's a major change, I don't think it's gonna get better. It's definitely gonna get worse before it gets better. So we'll see, only time can tell. It's so much to talk about. Definitely it's a very thorny subject, but one that we cannot just simply overlook and think that it's not going to be the case or it's not happening, because all the signs are pointing towards it, towards the end of this hobby as it is, or as we know it. So my friends, what do you think about it? Are you in agreement with me or disagreement with me? Do you think that I'm overreacting? Do you think that it's just my experience? Do you share the same experience? Or do you share a different one? Do you have a different one? Let me know in the comments below. So once again, my friends, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button so you're reminded of the next video. Follow me on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. The links are in the description. And please consider supporting the channel financially through Patreon. My friends, God bless. Take care. I will talk to you again. Bye-bye.